Welcome to You're Grounded. I think language, communication, and translating thoughts to one another through our own perceived experiences is one of our greatest gifts and tools as human beings. Join us every episode and eavesdrop on what we're connecting on, and hopefully our chats can inspire you and your friends' conversations, and at the very least, make you feel more grounded. I'm so grateful to share this conversation with you. Where do I even begin? Where do we start on this one?
You know, if you don't know, you just don't know. That's how I am.
If you don't know, I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
But if you don't
I feel
know,
sorry
now
for
you
you.
know.
Literally feel sorry for you.
We are here today with none other than Hoochie Daddy himself, Hodvil.
I'm here live, doing my first podcast, first and last, so you better listen to this one.
It's, lucky enough if they ever get to see your face again, but I have this feeling you're going to be in high demand.
Yeah,
so.
I'll be around. I got my agent back there on his laptop working on some more bookings. He doesn't know yet, but he's out there.
Working hard in these streets.
And
if you're watching instead of just listening, you can see we're in stunning San Diego, California, where it all began. Be
downtown. That's what we're going with.
So, little Hansi Troll and I, first of all, just one of my best friends in the entire universe. Literally, I can't even fathom my life without you. It's been a long...
I get that a lot.
I know, it's like not a crazy
it's tough.
sentiment.
It's tough, man.
It's old news.
Old news. You know what I'm saying? We have Hoochie Daddy season, everyone wants you. My shorts, I had to wear jeans today because I didn't want, people to see my shorts and get active.
This isn't OnlyFans, they're not paying for this. Yeah.
I get that started too. Mm-hmm. OnlyFans coming next, don't worry.
I'll link they'll put the link in the description.
Swipe up.
Mm-hmm. But you and I met 10 long years ago here in San Diego at a little old job. And I literally was just like, who is this personality? Who is this human? Who is this legend? I need to be a part of his life. And thank God you accepted. Honestly, application's still pending for a lot of people.
It's really pending for a lot of people.
It's a lot
Some people think they do have application in, but it's just like, haven't seen it yet.
No.
Got to talk to the intern.
Yeah.
It's over there working.
The agent,
agent's working. Sorry, not intern, my bad. From what we knew last week, I think. Guy has no clue that she's on my pocket. He's not worked for me, so
yeah,
it's tough.
It's tough. Yeah. It's like sometimes you just get on the payroll unexpectedly.
Right.
But blessings. I'm so grateful, literally, for Hans in my life because he's just one of those people that I feel like has the best energy of being able to bring, I know unity is such a lame word, but being able to bring unity to all people. Like, you are the definition of the more the merrier, and being inclusive and wanting to be able to just like make sure everyone's having a great time in life and make sure everybody's feeling like taken care of and looked after, and then also just a savage at the same time. And I feel like it's crazy we introduce, but if you don't know Hans, now you know, because you are someone that I can be in any state and people will be like, I'll be like, oh, like my friend from San Diego, Hans, and people know. People just know you everywhere.
Yeah, it's a gift and a curse. Shout out to my mom for giving a black kid the name Hans, and now everyone just remembers it. Like, it's not because I'm cool. I'm a 6'2" black dude with the name Hans, and there's like not that many out there. I might be the only one. Get an NFT for that baby. We're making money out here.
You honestly cannot forget him. A, because of your name. B, because of your height. C, because of your personality. Yeah. So thank God for all those really impressionable things. And also shout out Mama Hans. Thank you.
Yeah, shout out Marie.
Marie is the go. Honestly, quote level 10 out of 10.
We'll get her on like episode 100.
Yeah.
We'll make the trip down to Florida and just have her ramble about
this is also
life.
episode 10. So you are walking into the double digits with me. We had to make it an
love
epic one.
Had to.
Yeah. So 10 times fold. We'll get Marie on episode 100. It'll be big moves. We'll get her quotes regrammed. Yeah. But I'm here with Hans today because I'm just, everyone would be missing out if he wasn't on this episode. This one's probably pretty hyped. I think people are going to be really stoked when they
hopefully I deliver, you know what I'm saying? I usually don't deliver for most people,
Lies.
Especially girls between the times of midnight, 6 a.m. Am I not allowed to say that live? My bad.
Yeah.
We can edit that out. For all the girls that disappoint, I'm sorry. It seemed like an easy punchline.
This is your sorry note.
Yeah. We get a lot of DMs, like, you just had to talk about me in your fucking podcast. Okay,
this is honest, yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
Well, perfect.
This is just just like your sentiment to give those petty texts.
Yeah.
Honestly, I see what you're doing there. You're fishing, and I love it.
Yeah, this is Marvin's room before I got on here, so I get my feels.
Just fully in the deep.
Just fully.
God bless. Well, Hans, even though he's one of the funniest, craziest world travelers that I know, is also someone that I feel like has such a little soft side. And a lot of people don't know that, but I've been lucky enough to know that as one of his best friends. But you really never know the truth behind every single person that you interact with, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about today in a multitude of ways, in the good, the bad, the mysterious. But I feel like something that I've always been inspired by, and kind of a mind-blowing concept, is thinking about how there's literally a stranger inside every single person that we know that we will never know.
Right.
And I always talk about, like, the way that I explain it is like, okay, like even quote unquote your spouse or your family members, like quote unquote the people in your life, whoever it is that is closest to you, will never know you like you know you. Like, there's no way to even translate that in a lifetime that we have on this earth, even if we wanted to.
Yep.
But at the same time, there's still that mystery to everybody that we meet. No matter how much they put outwardly, there's still so much internal that we only will ever learn if they are willing to share.
Right, for sure. And I think that a lot of it too is, it comes to maturity. I think it's like one of those things, like your parents will, like, when you get older, you understand, it's like, okay, like, fuck you, like, that's super annoying. But like, once you get older, you like, you experience things, you travel places, you just like realize that, like, I know it's a crazy concept, but like, people like have a lot going on that you truly just don't know about.
Facts.
Until like you really get the nitty gritty or find out where they come from. Like, you understand why they're XYZ. It's not their fucking zodiac sign. It's like their upbringing and like who they surround themselves with. And I think too, with like life in general, like I think it kind of just helps to, it kind of sometimes like takes a step back and like, okay, like I just caught back on a bad day. Like something's going on that I just don't know. I'm not gonna take it personally. Like, hey, if you've known her long enough, and this is how it is.
And that's a one-off, exactly.
For
and
sure.
Giving people that empathy for not only when they're in different moods, good or bad days,
right.
but just knowing that it's that quote that's circulated everywhere is that you never know what's really going on with someone.
Sure.
You know, so be kind to everybody,
right.
Because even if someone's an asshole to me, I'm like, whatever. They're probably. I try to always give people the benefit of the doubt.
Sure.
Is another way to say that, because there's always room for forgiveness or being able to understand how people are the way they are because of their upbringing, because of their life impressions, because of what just happened in that day, let alone long-term, you know, layers to people's
right.
personalities of like, if they're a little finicky or if they're really like anxious or if they're really this or that. You know, there might be things about someone that you're like, well, I'm not that way. I don't understand how they're that way. That's because they've had a whole different walk of life than
right.
you.
I think also too, I think it's important that, you know, you talk about this topic that you know, take that step and just ask like what's going on. Like just having that open conversation with somebody, you don't know if they've never talked about it with somebody, don't know if they might not feel comfortable talking about it, and that's fine. But like with everything that's going on in the world, with, you know, the pandemic and people just have to be shut like in their own space, getting your own thoughts a lot, like last thing you want somebody to feel like they're alone, and make sure it's important, you know, like if it's a one-off text, if it's like being honest with your friend, I think it's just important to make sure you have those conversations, because you don't want somebody to feel alone in whatever they're going through.
Absolutely. We all just need to literally come together and just take care of one another.
It's so crazy because like you talk about it and it seems like such an easy thing.
Right.
But you also seen, and like not to get dark, but you seen the flip side of it. It's like, oh, like that person was going through something, like whatever, like they'll be fine tomorrow, but like this could be a 10-year thing you never knew about.
Exactly, that it built up and it's just now surfacing.
Right.
It could have always been internal and they were able to quote unquote manage it to
right.
their best ability. But it's only just a matter of, again, the stranger inside of them will never know if something's bothering them until it's at that surface point. I think there's levels to it. You know, it's
right.
like the internalization, maybe you're talking about it outwardly, maybe it's finally like showing through your behaviors, your thoughts, your comments.
Right.
You know, there's all those different tiers of what someone could be going through internally that we are only exposed to until we ask and until we look out for one another and until we're in that position of being like, are you okay?
Yeah.
Like giving them that opportunity or that space.
Right. And I think it's easy for like me and you to say, because we have personalities where like I'll call your ass out, or like I have no problem like doing that. But I think also too, it takes from the other person to get out of their comfort zone and make sure like, okay, like if you don't feel comfortable having a conversation with Becca, like maybe reach out to Becca's friends, like, hey, is everything all right with that person? Or like, hey, what's going on?
It's that emotional intelligence too, is knowing when it's right to go directly to the person, or if it's like a sensitive situation, maybe like going to your point, one of their friends.
Right.
But giving that person that outlet to be able to say, okay, I finally have a place to express it, but maybe that's their first time anyone's ever like invested in them to go there.
Right.
And also using your emotional intelligence to not, push too much, and just be able to give them the space and then let them do with it what they may.
Right.
Because everyone's going to be different, and maybe you just give someone the opportunity to open up or express something that they've been going through, and they might spill hours worth of information, and you might be that, comfort level for them, but also maybe they might not be ready, but at least you like gave them the thought that someone does have interest in me in that way,
And I think too, and bring up some great points, I think too, like, you just think one thing is important, make sure you're genuine. Also too, like, kind of understand the person. Like, it definitely comes with practice and time. Like, sometimes, like you said, like, they just want to vent for hours. They don't give two shits what you have to say.
Right.
And sometimes, like, you just need to shoot them straight and tell them, like, give them some advice and say, hey, like, by no means I'm not an expert. So if you're writing notes right now, like, just, like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm just giving you my
If anyone's using this in their master's program.
Right. Make sure you cite me and tag me so I get more followers. My DMs are very dry these days. But no, like, I think you have to understand yourself as a person and not take on too much. Like, you can't save the world, but like, I don't know where I'm going with this, but like, you just have to fill out the conversation to see where you are on both ends and where you're going with that.
Yeah, and everybody's responses are going to be different. They're going to be, to your point, sometimes they want advice, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they want to talk for a while, sometimes they're just going to be grateful that you even asked and inquired. And a lot of people are in that space where they're still internalizing things to where they're not going to be able to necessarily say like, oh, I don't want to talk about it right now. You'll just be able to read, like, okay, they'll be like, oh, like, they'll deny maybe a little, like, no, everything's fine, or I'm good, and that you have to respect too. But being able to have the platform to where they know maybe it wasn't the right time, maybe it wasn't the right situation, maybe it wasn't the right social place, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not saying be at like the basement of Oxford at 3 a.m. yelling at my ear, yo, what's going on, dog? I know something's up, player. Let's talk about this now. But sometimes like,
might not be the right time.
Right. Be like the fucking Draymond, like, I know something's going on, let's talk about it now. But no, I think this girl's looking like I'm fucking crazy.
I like it.
That's fine, whatever.
We love a bystander moment.
But no, I mean, I think sometimes too, just be easy as a, text the next day, hey, seems like you're a little off, like, if you want to talk about something, let me know.
Yes!
And like,
because that's not committal too, and that's a perfect, oh my god, if anybody needs to literally copy paste, that's a perfect example of being like, hey, like, just want to make sure everything's good, because that takes courage from you to be vulnerable and being able to like, okay, we might have a vulnerable situation on our hands, or they'd be like, oh my gosh, either way, no one's going to be upset at someone just checking in on them. They'll be like, oh my gosh, thank you, I'm totally good, my bad, or whatever, and it's not to shame them if they're acting off, it's more just to give that space, that intentional space that you show you're invested in care.
Right. And I think too, like, I think something I learned a lot recently too is like, don't take personal if someone takes a day to respond. Like, you can always, like, I usually end my text with like, hey, if you don't have this
time
social capacity,
right
I don't want you to feel spent on talking about a topic you've talked about 100 times. I'm sending you a text message, just a general inquiry, just one that you know I'm here. If you want to talk about it, I'm here to talk about it. If not, just know, like,
peace be with you. No, that's one of my favorite things about you is I think that's why people have such a love for you globally. Is because
I'm also guilty of just like leaving people on red. I'll read messages and it'd be Sunday, just hungover. I'm like, yo, I ain't got this in me, dog. Like,
remember when I said Hans is also a savage? Yes, that part.
Yeah, I got receipts for everyone, baby. Like, it's not you. It's me.
Do not test him. The receipts are all there. They're stacked in.
I'll get back to you eventually, like at least 48 hours, but. You catch me, and sometimes I just don't have the energy to talk to you.
People need that grace for you as well. Just as much as you give it out, they need it for you.
Oh, for sure.
But that's why you're so loved, is you do genuinely invest in caring the people you genuinely invest and care about.
Right.
And that shows, and people feel that, and they want to keep you in their life because they know that you're reliable. Yeah. And that cannot be said for a lot of people.
Nah, not at all.
And I just really admire that about you.
Yeah, thank you.
And I think you're one of the most genuine people, you're one of the funniest, you're also one of just the most real, because to your point, you'll call me out, you'll call people out, you will be honest, you will be caring, you, for whatever situation needs to be said, you don't have the fear from practicing your life experience
Right.
that's made you the way you are
Right.
to be able to be a straight shooter.
Right.
And I really admire that because that's something I try to embody, but I think that you're definitely like a textbook you're definitely a textbook example of that.
Yeah, and I think too, when people listen to this, or people like in general, like listen to other podcasts or see other like kind of mental health articles, like you kind of have to find what works for you, right?
Absolutely.
Like my personality is not fit for, you know, somebody else, like, and I know that too, like
Same.
you have to see what works, and like, yes, you have to be uncomfortable to get comfortable, but sometimes too, like, if calling people out is not your thing, don't feel like you have to do that.
No, it's nothing is what you're supposed to do.
Right.
But everyone's emotional intelligence is always worth expanding.
For sure.
Everyone has the ability to continue to be self-aware and absorb in emotional situations, like what might be the right move or what might be the most appropriate move is the word I should say.
Oh yeah.
But I think that expanding your emotional intelligence and then doing things that are authentic to your personality, but also giving that growth of expansion of like, I can be vulnerable and give this person that vulnerability platform as well too. I think those go hand in hand, I agree. But it really is crazy. You never know what's going on in anyone's life, even no matter what they're outwardly expressing. It's not to say that we all have all these inner demons, but we all have inner things we're turmoiling with, or family situations, or work situations that might not be relevant to when we're hanging out with our friends and trying to keep the mood light. But being a real friend means going beyond just the light times and being able to be for them there in private, just over text, or in person, like whatever you need.
The things I learned about in my time of life, everyone's gonna think like I'm like some guy that like spent years in like India or something like that experiences. But I think people always have this fear. Again, in my opinion, I believe that people have this fear inside of them that like wherever they're going through, like the next person won't understand or know or never been through it.
Yes.
Like yeah, they probably have been through it, but like
not
I promise
exactly
you,
to your occurrence of life events.
Right.
No two people are the exact same.
Right. But like I promise you, you're depressed. Like dude, I've been depressed. Like I promise that somebody else has been depressed. Like your anxiety. Like dude, other people think. Yeah. Like I think we always joke about like normalizing like this and that, but like dude, I promise you, whatever you're going through, someone's been through similar, or like someone knows of somebody, or somebody can have that conversation with you.
Absolutely. And give you that compassionate release, because as humans it's so innate and just in our brain chemistries to just want communal comfort.
Right.
And we were never meant to operate independently or not share all parts of our life experience. And there's so much shame, especially on men, that they should not be expressing their emotions in society, good, bad, or indifferent. Kind of just like they shouldn't even be really excitable, like, you know. So it's not just like you should be tough. It's also like you shouldn't be really excitable either. And women also have all their own constraints of their own. But it's like no matter what you identify as or what your situation is, everyone is meant to have community. And that cradling comfort, if that doesn't come from your family, finding it in friends that you treat like family, or vice versa. Like if you are moved to a new city and you don't have any friends close by, like leaning on your old ones, or leaning on whatever you can resourcefully to build your community wherever you are, to be able to have that emotional release, not be alone.
Like don't be scared to ask for help. Again, you think it's something so hard, but it's something simple thing.
That's exactly why I started this podcast too, is to be able to eavesdrop on conversations with just naturally me and my friends, and to have that communal comfort of a space that if they're in a place or a situation where maybe they're not ready for that vulnerability, or they don't have a community of friends or, you know, people in their life that they feel like they can have these types of conversations with. But that's exactly why I wanted to even inspire and have people at least have this space, and they can listen to it in their complete privacy and not have to say anything.
Oh, for sure.
But at least they can have that space.
I think it's funny too, because I think there's like, I don't remember if it was like a public speaker, it was a public speaker, like, or somebody that like, it was from college, is like, and I do these, like, they were like, I do these speeches, I do these talks, like, I'm sure half of you guys rolling your eyes. I'm sure Joey is just probably listening to this right now and trying to find something to roast you about in the group chat. But you generally never know. There could be one person out of the hundreds of thousands I listen to and be like, wow, I need that today.
Yes.
Yeah, I needed that conversation.
I needed that. Because again, we never know what someone's going through. And so even if this isn't relevant to someone today when we're recording it, maybe by the time it airs, it will be relevant. And it's exactly what that person needed that day.
When I blow up on OnlyFans because it's hoochie guy season and they come back and listen to this, like, damn, that daddy was right.
And he also was deep.
Daddy is pretty right. Dude, if you don't know me, people think I'm like a fucking creep. That's cool.
That's cool. Let them have their judgment because we know the truth.
Yeah, I should throw some likes on my photos.
Yeah, please. There's some of us together also. Yeah. So two birds with one stone. Gonna throw myself in that ring of fire.
It's a public profile. So you can also repost it. You just never know, man.
Kind of like whatever you're into.
Right.
No holding back. Full permissions. Yeah. But I think Hans is one of the best people to, like I said, give people that comfort of a space to the people that you comfort and want to invest in, because not everybody gets access to that to you. It's genuinely authentic to your emotional intelligence is so high that you know who needs it, and you so selflessly like take the time and energy to give people the same thing you'd want back and in return. And I think you probably don't know it, but you're subliminally helping those around you realize that they have the same power that you do.
Right.
So I think it's awesome that you empower those around you by being that vulnerable space and being your authentic self.
Yeah.
I hope you know.
Yeah, it's crazy because like, I feel like this is probably the point where I'm like kind of tooting my own horn at some point. But like I've been like trying to figure out like, it's like, I think Susan and I always like laugh at like, why is it like always me that's like, it's a random conversation with some dude at a club out and about.
Yes, we'll get into hard touches for freaking strangers.
Yeah,
yes.
I was like, thanks dude, like I can't hear you, but like you were in the back, it's lit. But no, I think it's also too, I think for my friends, people who know me, I think they know that they can unleash whatever they have going on, and then I'm either going to let them like vent, listen, or if they like, I'll usually give them like some type of feedback, and whether they like it or not, they know I'm not gonna tell them what they want to hear. I'm gonna tell them what I think and like how you should handle a situation, or like what I would do in your situation.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think you inspire people also by just loving yourself and always giving yourself permission to be yourself.
Yeah.
And
that's
give
like
self-love.
And that's something too that people like meet me and like, oh, like he must have been this whole life. Like, no, dude, like I was insecure growing up. Like I was overweight, didn't have a lot of friends growing up. Like it took me a while to be comfortable in my own skin. Like you see me now, like I'm just literally tarps off wherever I go, because I generally just like
take it or leave it.
Have grown in my body, grown to know who I am, and just to love myself.
Yes, and we all love you, Hansi. You are so well loved.
Minus the girls, as said, they're
right,
midnight.
Minus those ones.
The 7 a.m. girls, though, they're pretty
love you though. They still love you.
Snoring. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know we have all flaws, you know what I'm saying? It's alright.
It's the best part about you. You own yours too.
I own that
no
too.
Shame. No shame in the game, baby.
Literally zero shame.
Love your fucking self. Oh my god, you are an inspiration to so many people.
Oh man.
I'm just so grateful because to your point, even in the last 10 years I've known you, when I first met you, you were still Hans. You're still that guy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in the best way possible, I've seen you grow into your vulnerability, advocating for men's mental health, like advocating for women's mental health, advocating for just everybody to be able to have comfort and space in their reality, you know?
Yeah, I think we've gotten to a point in life where we just made everything just so much about like politics, what side you're on of things in life,
and
stuff
sides,
like the general people, like
we're all like the same. We are literally all the freaking same. We boil down to our little brains.
We have sisters, mothers, we have like friends of different ethnicities, like we like you have like you know these people, like we have to take care of one another. Damn sure Congress ain't helping our asses out.
Gotta lean on each other.
God damn, bro. Sleepy Joe, bro. I'm so away from my money, my guy.
Still waiting.
I'm gonna get like a fucking FBI bang on my door. I heard this podcast and now I'm gone somewhere.
Somewhere internationally.
Somewhere international.
What in the world is Hansi San Diego? Well, that's the good audio for the intro to that show when it airs. Thank you. But I am just so grateful for you giving your insight, giving people the comfort that you do. You're just such a king. I just love you. But we're gonna wrap up our episode, and I gotta ask you the 2 questions. That we
yes, I'm single, and yes, my DMs are open. Thank you for coming. I'll leave you now.
That's it. Episode's done. Episode's wrap.
I got not more to do. It's a Friday.
Yes, he's single, and yes, the DMs are open, ladies. You heard it. But what is your superpower? What is Hansi's superpower?
Superpower. That's a tough one. I don't really. I think also like knowing myself. I think I'm also. It's tough to be like try to give my own praises, but I think
I know, but you can do it.
Yeah,
You deserve it.
I think
You have so many things to praise.
Yeah, I think something. I don't even know how you would put this in one word, but like kind of like reading the room, like their audience.
Your emotional
like,
intelligence.
Yeah, it's emotional. I think that would be it. Like I know situations where I need to step in. I know situations where like I need to take a step back and let nature run its course.
Facts. You are
and
so good at that.
I think that's those life experiences. I mean, it comes from my parents being like born and raised in Haiti to me being the first like American in the family. So it's those two different cultures,
Yeah.
and then managing life as you go your growth, the awkward stage of like weight change and like trying to make friends, and then being the only black guy on the lacrosse team, or like not being like black enough on like the basketball team. They think you learn these like different things through your life, and I think that like that kind of all kind of made me who I am today. That kind of knows my space and emotional intelligence. I just kind of went on a rant there, so I don't know if that makes sense.
It's
but
perfectly relevant.
Yeah.
I was literally gonna say
Yeah.
full circle moment, because giving people empathy for why they are the way they are
Right.
is your life experience.
Yeah.
This is a positive takeaway from all those experiences and
For sure.
how you become the way you are is
Right.
all those reasons. And also the fact that your emotional intelligence is, I think, attributed, in my experience with you in just the last 10 years, is kind of calling back to Vernon and mine's episode,
Yeah.
is your social net is super vast, similar to his, in that you've been able to observe so many people in so many situations that has only like stacked your like history or repertoire of things that you're able to
For
know
sure.
what moves to make where,
Yeah. Yeah, Vernon's something else, but like that's a whole separate podcast to talk about my guy there. But
Legends only. Oh my god, you
but like
guys.
that's like the after hours podcast. That's like
Yeah, oh my
the
god.
BT uncut. Like
Yes.
you can't like have family friends talk about that
No,
kind of
you
stuff.
hit on Lamar in the same room. I'm scared. I'm literally scared. Evil laughs. And then last but not least, Hans, what do you like to do? What do you, who is this to so many people, what do you like to do to stay grounded?
I think just going for walks, like it's sounds
Hoochie
so
daddy
good.
walks?
Hoochie daddy walks. It's, like yeah, women are out here. Let's talk about that. 'Cause women are out here on their hot mom walks. There's not enough
Girl
dudes
walks.
on their hoochie daddy walks. Put in a podcast, listen to some Sade, keep the shorts a little high, show a little thigh for the ladies,
Show
but
it.
be in your own space. You know,
Arms off, let the thighs out.
yeah, to be in your own space and step away and. Dude, man, sometimes it's just like just turning off your phone, like or just putting it on airplane mode and just relax and relax and just taking a step away. Like that text message, that email, like whatever you have going on, like that is still going to be there. Like that doesn't change. Shout out to the Padres for teaching me that for 8 years of dealing with crazy ass members.
Yes. Yes.
But no, it's just like there's whatever you have going on, whatever your issue is, whatever your problem, whatever it is, like that's not going away. But like just take a second for yourself. Take that bath, get the candles going, go for a walk, go lift. Like make sure you have whatever you have to unwind, to relax yourself.
Yeah, whatever you need to refuel your batteries.
To, you know what I'm saying? Relax yourself. You gotta do it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just glad that you know how to take care of yourself, and you've learned that lesson over the years too. Because I think that's something we all didn't naturally just be born with either. Is learning what does fuel our souls, what does ground us,
Right.
what does enable us to have these abilities, to have these connections with others.
For sure.
And having grace for people that aren't taking that time for themselves, and understanding maybe why they might be short-sighted. Again, full circle back to the topic,
Right.
but being able to have that space of alone time, self-reflection, recharging of your batteries, and yeah, you heard it here first. Put this episode on and go for a walk.
Yeah. So listen to me ramble. You know what I'm saying? Like
Thank
just
you.
whatever it is. I think you just you owe it to yourself. Like no matter if you had a good day or bad day, like your biggest win is you woke up and you took on the day.
And
like,
you took care of yourself.
Right. You took care of
Because
yourself.
you are the only one that can take care of you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Other people can help, but
Yeah.
you got to put yourself first.
1,000%.
I'm so grateful for that takeaway. Such good advice.
Yeah.
Well, you're full of wisdom. If we're
Full of
lucky
wisdom.
enough, if we get the
Full of tequila,
funding,
full of
we'll
love.
send full espresso martini
Yeah.
to the town.
Yeah. Mezcal margaritas. We love one. Oh,
We just went on an
oh,
alcohol tangent.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, cool, Becca got this guy who's a fucking alcoholic to talk about wellness and health and himself. Tight, dude.
Listen, you have it down much more than most people, and that's why I love you, and that's why you're one of my best friends, and I'm so grateful to have had you and give your wise self-advice to everybody. And if we're lucky enough, like I said, we'll get you back.
Yeah, we'll definitely be back.
Or the after hours episode.
After hours episodes, just take a rant on a different topic to talk about anything. Always here.
Stunning. I love you the most.
Love
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of You're Grounded. Make sure to share this episode if it resonated with you, and rate this podcast on whatever streaming platform you like to listen from. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. All social platforms are titled You're Grounded Pod. Until next time, stay grounded.